All right, so we are using our understanding of solving two-step equations for us to figure out how to solve a problem that they've given us here. It's a real-world scenario, and what we're looking for is the perimeter of a county. So they say that the shape of Aguelo County resembles a trapezoid. The approximate area is 770 square miles, and they want to know what is the perimeter of the county. So in order for us to find out the perimeter, remember the perimeter means you're just adding up the sides around a shape. Okay. In order for you to do that, you need to know what each of those sides are equal to. So we have the 31, we have the 28. We don't know what the value of base 1 is, and then we also have 28.9. So we can't tell you what the perimeter is of this shape here until we figure out what base 1 is equal to. So we're going to use our understanding of trapezoid area. We know that our area is going to be equal to base 1 plus base 2 times the height, and then we're going to cut that in half. Okay, so let's see what we do know. Do we have the area? Yes, they tell us that the area is 770 square miles. Um, and let me say that before we finish and start working on this problem, I want you to understand that there are different ways for you to come up with the same answer. So this is just one way that you can solve it to come up with the answer. All right, so our area is equal to 770. Do we know the base 1 and base 2? Well, base 1 we don't know, so we're going to put B1, leave that there. But we're going to add that to base 2, which is going to be 31. So these are called the bases. The parallel sides are called the bases, all right? And then we're going to multiply that by the height. And the height is the one that goes completely vertical to both of those bases, right? So it's perpendicular to the bases. And that one is 28 for the height. And then we're going to divide that by 2. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I noticed that the whole purpose of this problem is because I'm trying to isolate and figure out what the value of B is. And I don't know what that is because I'm adding 31. And on top of that, I have 28 sets, right, of this B plus 31. And then I'm dividing by 2. So I'm just going to work my way backwards. Now, typically, I know that I've been showing you if you see a parentheses, you see a number outside of the parentheses, go on and distribute that out. But I'm not going to do that because I am multiplying by 28 and then I'm dividing by 2. So I'm going to cross cancel and see if I can reduce the size of this fraction or possibly even eliminate it. All right. So in other words, we have 28 over 2. And I can definitely do that, right? So 28 divided by 2 gives me 14. That's the same thing as saying 14 over 1. And if we say 14 over 1, that's the same thing as saying 14, right? So I can get rid of this denominator, okay? And then I'm left with 14 here in my numerator. Well, the denominator is gone. So now it's just multiplied by 14. All right, so now we have 770. That is going to be equal to, and I'm just going to use the commutative property. Remember the commutative property, think about traveling. So I'm going to travel, move the 14 over here, and then I'm going to put my base 1 plus 31, just because it looks right to me, okay? But you can leave it in this order if you like. It's not going to change the result. All right. So again, I know that I've been telling you go on and distribute out, but I'm not going to do that because what I'm going to do is see instead of multiplying that out, maybe I can just go on and divide both sides, right, by 14. And remember, I'm just going through PEMDAS, right? So I didn't see any addition outside of the parentheses. So the only thing that I see, the only operation that's outside of the parentheses is multiplication. So I'm going to divide both sides by 14. If I take 770, divide that by 14, we come out with, that's not correct, 770 divided by 14. Okay, that gives me 55. And that is going to be equal to, remember, if you're multiplying or dividing, you want that result to become 1. So that is equal to B plus 31. And I don't need to put this in the parentheses because I'm not multiplying it by anything, okay? There's nothing there. In fact, it's 1. That's what you're multiplying by. And so 1 times any number is just going to be those numbers repeated. All right, so we have B plus 31. Is the variable by itself? And this is base 1, so let me keep that there. Is the variable by itself? No, because we're adding 31. So I'm going to subtract 31 from both sides. And by doing that, I end up with 24 is going to be equal to base 1. So base 1, the side is 31 miles. Okay, or 24 miles, sorry. All right, so now what I need to do is figure out the perimeter by adding up all those sides. I'm going to start with base 2. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way around. All right, so we have 31, okay? And now we have 28 plus base 1, which we now know is 24, plus 28.9. Okay, now what do we end up with? Okay, so we have 31 plus 28 plus 24 plus 28.9. Our answer is going to be 111.9 miles. So the perimeter is going to be 111.9 miles.